First contact consequences. Admiral Kira Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, humanity's foremost deep space vessel, watching the stars through the massive forward viewport. The ship represented the pinnacle of human engineering and innovation, the culmination of centuries of warfare, espionage, and paranoia that had forged humanity into a spacefaring species unlike any other. The Intrepid wasn't just a warship, it was a carefully crafted warning to the galaxy. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel called from his station. We're detecting multiple vessels approaching from the Arcturus sector. Configuration unknown, but their energy signatures are massive. Chen nodded, her expression unchanging. First contact. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades, ever since the discovery of non-terrestrial radio signals suggested intelligent life existed beyond Earth. Battle stations, she ordered calmly. Activate defense grid alpha, but keep weapons powered down. Let's not start an interstellar incident on day one. Throughout the massive vessel, crew members moved with practiced efficiency. The Intrepid's systems hummed to life. Not the weapons, not yet, but the defensive systems that had made Earth's fleet infamous among its own people. Systems designed not just to protect against attack, but against intelligence gathering. They're slowing, Admiral Patel reported. 5 vessels. Formation suggests a diplomatic approach rather than hostile intent. Or they want us to think that, Chen muttered. Centuries of human conflict had taught her people never to trust appearances. Open a channel, standard greeting protocol. The communication officer worked quickly. Channel open, Admiral. Chen straightened her uniform. This is Admiral Kira Chen of the United Earth ship Intrepid. We come in peace and represent humanity with an open hand of friendship. Please identify yourselves. The main screen flickered, and an alien appeared. Humanoid in basic shape, but with iridescent blue-green skin and large, multifaceted eyes that reminded Chen of a dragonfly. When it spoke, the ship's AI translated. Greetings, Admiral Chen of Earth. I am High Commander Zivix of the Valerie Alliance. We have been observing your species' emergence into interstellar travel with great interest. This is indeed a momentous occasion. Chen studied the alien carefully, noting the ornate uniform and the way other aliens moved in the background of their bridge. We're pleased to make your acquaintance, High Commander. Humanity looks forward to peaceful relations with the Valerie Alliance. Zivix made a gesture that Chen couldn't interpret. As do we, Admiral. According to our protocols, we would like to perform a standard scan of your vessel. This is customary when the Alliance meets new species and helps us calibrate our translation matrices and biometric systems. Would you permit this courtesy? Chen's expression remained neutral, but her mind raced. Every instinct honed through decades of military service screamed caution. I'm afraid I must decline your request, High Commander. Earth protocols prohibit scanning of our vessels under any circumstances. However, we can share standardized technical specifications and biological data through direct transmission. The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with surprise. This is unusual, Admiral. The scan is harmless, I assure you. It is merely a formality that all new species accommodate. Nevertheless, Chen replied, the prohibition stands. Perhaps when our peoples know each other better, such exchanges of technology will be possible. She could see the alien commander conferring with others off-screen. When Zivix returned to the transmission, there was a new edge to the alien's voice. Admiral Chen, while we respect your position, I must inform you that without standard biometric and technological assessment, the Valerie Alliance cannot establish formal diplomatic relations. Our security protocols require baseline knowledge of all species we interact with. Chen nodded slowly. I understand your position, Commander. However, my orders are absolute. Perhaps we can find alternative methods to satisfy both our protocols. Perhaps, Zivix said, though the translation carried tones of doubt. We will confer with our diplomatic corps. In the meantime, please maintain your current position. The transmission ended, and Chen turned to her first officer. They're going to scan us anyway, aren't they? Commander Diana Rodriguez nodded. If they follow typical first contact patterns established in our simulations, they'll attempt a scan while pretending to respect our wishes. It's what we would do. Indeed. Chen sighed. Status of Defense Grid Alpha. Fully operational. Admiral. If they attempt penetration, countermeasures will deploy automatically. Chen moved to the tactical display, studying the arrangement of the alien vessels. Warn all departments. When they try it, and they will, things might get interesting. It took less than an hour. Admiral, Lieutenant Patel called out sharply, we're detecting active scanning patterns from the smallest vessel in their formation. Complex electromagnetic and quantum probes. Chen didn't even look up from her report. Let me know when our countermeasures engage. The bridge crew worked silently, the tension palpable. Then Paddle's console erupted in alerts. Countermeasures active. The alien vessel is. Admiral, their systems are going haywire. Their ship is spinning, life support fluctuating. They're broadcasting some kind of distress signal. Now Chen did look up, watching the tactical display as the small alien vessel tumbled out of formation, its systems clearly compromised. Open a channel to Zavix, she ordered. When the alien commander appeared, the atmosphere of their bridge was chaotic. Alarms blared, and crew members moved frantically in the background. What have you done to our scout vessel? Zavix demanded, multifaceted eyes flashing with colors Chen couldn't interpret. Exactly what I warned would happen, Commander. Chen replied evenly. Your vessel attempted to scan the Intrepid despite my explicit refusal. Our automated defense systems responded according to protocol. Your defenses attacked our ship. Zavix's translator couldn't fully convey the emotion, but the intent was clear. No, Commander. Your scan triggered our countermeasures. There's an important distinction. Chen leaned forward slightly. We did not fire weapons or launch an offensive. Your scan attempted to extract data from our systems, and our systems responded by feeding false and contradictory information back through the same channel. The cascade of erroneous data overwhelmed your ship's computers. Another alien appeared beside Zavix, speaking rapidly in their native language. Zavix's colors shifted, indicating what Chen assumed was alarm. Your countermeasures have corrupted our vessel's entire database. Navigation systems are failing, life support is fluctuating, and our quantum communications array has gone completely offline. Chen nodded solemnly. I regret that this demonstration was necessary, Commander. Our scout ships can assist your vessel and help clear the corrupted data. This incident need not escalate further. This is unprecedented, Zavix said after a moment. No species we have encountered possesses such defensive capabilities. The implications are concerning. Not defensive capabilities, Commander. Security protocols. Humanity spent centuries defending against itself before we ever looked to the stars. Chen's expression softened slightly. We developed these systems to prevent espionage among our own nations long before we considered extraterrestrial threats. There was a long pause as Zavix conferred with other aliens off-screen. When the commander returned, their demeanor had changed. We accept your offer of assistance, Admiral Chen. And I must formally apologize for disregarding your warning. It seems the Valerie Alliance has much to learn about humanity. As we have much to learn about the Alliance, Chen replied diplomatically, I suggest we begin with open communication rather than covert scanning. The next 12 hours were tense as human technicians worked alongside Valerie engineers to purge the corrupted data from their scout ship. The virus-like countermeasures had spread throughout their systems, rewriting code and creating phantom readings that convinced the crew they were simultaneously overheating, freezing, losing atmosphere, and accelerating toward a non-existent star. In the diplomatic lounge of the Intrepid, Chen sat across from Zavix, both leaders nursing drinks suitable for their respective biologies. Your defensive systems, Zavix said, breaking the uncomfortable silence. They are formidable beyond anything in our experience. Most species we encounter focus their technology on weapons, shields, propulsion. Few devote such resources to counterintelligence. Chen smiled slightly. Earth's nations spent centuries spying on each other before we unified. We became very good at both gathering intelligence and preventing others from gathering it. When we finally achieved peace, those skills didn't disappear. They were incorporated into our space program. But to mount such sophisticated countermeasures on every vessel, Zevix's multifaceted eyes shifted colors in what Chen was beginning to recognize as amazement. The computing power alone must be immense. It's not about power, Chen explained, but about strategy. Our systems don't try to block scans. They manipulate them, feeding false data back along the same channels. The more intensive the scan, the more devastating the counter-response. Zevix's colors shifted again. You realize that knowledge of these capabilities will spread throughout the Alliance and beyond. Some may see your technology as a threat, while others will see it as a reason not to provoke us, Chen countered. We don't seek conflict, Commander, but neither will we leave ourselves vulnerable. Humanity values its privacy. A sentiment I now understand completely, Zivix said, mandibles clicking in what Chen's cultural officer had identified as a gesture of respect. I will recommend to Alliance leadership that a new protocol be established. Do not scan human vessels under any circumstances. Chen raised her glass in a toast. To new protocols, Commander, and to peaceful relations between our peoples. As they drank, Chen knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy not with weapons of mass destruction or diplomatic overtures, but with a simple message. Our secrets are our own. It was a lesson the Valkyrie Alliance would not soon forget, and one that would quickly spread throughout the stars. Don't scan the humans was about to become the first rule of interstellar diplomacy. The Galactic Summit. 10 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the Valkyrie Alliance. What began as a tense encounter had evolved into a complex but stable relationship. The phrase, "don't scan the humans," had spread throughout known space, becoming something between a diplomatic protocol and an interstellar inside joke. Ambassador Layla Sharma stood at the viewing deck of Concordia Station, the massive space habitat constructed at the edge of the Sol system specifically to host the first-ever Galactic Concord Summit. Representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations would gather here to discuss trade, territorial boundaries, and the ever-present threat of the Kryvax Dominion on the galactic rim. Quite the view, isn't it? Admiral Chen said, joining her at the window. In the decades since first contact, Kira Chen had earned more medals and gray hairs, but her posture remained perfect, her gaze still sharp and evaluating. Hard to believe we've come this far in just 10 years, Sharma replied, watching as ships from a dozen different worlds moved gracefully through the space around the station. From complete isolation to hosting the most significant diplomatic gathering in known space. Chen made a non-committal sound. Our defensive technologies certainly accelerated our acceptance into the galactic community. Nothing earns respect quite like making it clear you can't be spied upon. The Valyri still haven't fully recovered from that embarrassment, Sharma said with a slight smile. High Commander Zevix told me they completely redesigned their scanning protocols after the incident with the Intrepid. As have most species, Chen noted, though I suspect some will try again today. Sharma turned to face the Admiral fully. You think someone would risk scanning our ships during a peace summit? Peace makes people curious, not cautious, Chen replied. And our fleet has grown considerably since first contact. The Intrepid was impressive then, but the new Guardian-class vessels are technological marvels. Someone will want to know what makes them tick. The conversation was interrupted by Sharma's aide, a young diplomat named Marcus Lee. Ambassador, Admiral, the Tauran delegation has arrived. They're requesting guidance to their docking bay. I'll handle it, Sharma said. The Taurans are notoriously particular about docking procedures. As Sharma departed, Chen returned her gaze to the fleet of human ships patrolling the perimeter of the station. 5 Guardian-class warships, including her flagship, the UES Vigilant, formed a protective cordon around Concordia. Each represented the pinnacle of human engineering, and each carried counterintelligence systems far more sophisticated than those that had disabled the Valerie Scout a decade ago. Chen's comm unit chimed softly. "Admiral, this is Captain Rivera on the Vigilant. We're detecting unusual energy emissions from the Sician vessel that arrived an hour ago." "Define unusual, Captain." They're broadcasting standard diplomatic IFF, but their power distribution suggests they're running active sensors at maximum capacity. Not quite a scan, but they're gathering every bit of passive data they can. Chen frowned. The Sicians were a relatively new addition to the galactic community, aquatic mammals with technology that rivaled the Valerie. "Keep monitoring them, Captain. If they cross the line from passive to active scanning, follow Protocol Omega." "Understood, Admiral." Vigilant out. The Grand Chamber of Concordia Station buzzed with activity as delegates from across the galaxy mingled before the formal opening of the summit. The architecture had been designed to accommodate species of vastly different biologies and social customs. Aquatic chambers for water brothers, high-gravity sections for species from dense worlds, and numerous atmospheric barriers that allowed for comfortable breathing without impeding communication. Chen stood near the human delegation, watching the interactions with professional interest. Ambassador Sharma moved effortlessly between groups, her diplomatic training evident in every gesture and expression. The Valerie representatives nodded respectfully when Chen caught their eye. A decade had turned wariness into genuine respect. "Admiral Chen," a deep, resonant voice called. Chen turned to see Zevix approaching, the Valerie commander's carapace now bearing the ornate markings of a fleet admiral. "It is agreeable to see you again." "Likewise, Admiral Zevix," Chen replied with a formal bow. "Congratulations on your promotion. A position I might not have achieved without the educational experience you provided 10 years ago," Zivix said, mandibles clicking in what Chen now recognized as wry amusement. "Your lesson in counterintelligence fundamentally changed our approach to security." Before Chen could respond, the station's alarms began blaring. Red emergency lights pulsed throughout the chamber, causing immediate confusion among the delegates. "Security breach in Docking Bay 12, announced the station's eye. "All delegates please remain in the central chamber. Security personnel to defensive positions." Chen's comm unit activated instantly. "Admiral, this is Rivera. 3 vessels just dropped out of FTL at the edge of our defense perimeter. Configuration matches Kryvax attack cruisers. Battle stations," Chen ordered without hesitation. "Inform all Guardian vessels to form defensive formation Delta around the station, and alert Ambassador Sharma. We may need to evacuate delegates." As Chen issued orders, Zivix's communication device also activated. After a brief exchange in the Valerie language, the alien admiral turned to Chen, multifaceted eyes flashing with alarm. "The Sician vessel has just launched fighters," Zivix reported. "They're not responding to hails. They're working with the Kryvax." Chen realized aloud. This isn't a coincidence. Throughout the chamber, security officers from various species were moving to protect their diplomatic delegations. Ambassador Sharma quickly made her way to Chen's side. "The station's defenses are activating," Sharma reported, "but they weren't designed to repel a coordinated attack. If those Kryvax cruisers break through, they won't," Chen stated with absolute certainty. "Guardian vessels have engaged, but I'm more concerned about potential infiltrators already aboard." As if summoned by her words, the massive doors at the far end of the chamber slid open, and a group of Sicians entered. Unlike the diplomatic delegation, these wore combat armor and carried weapons. "Everyone remain calm," called the lead Sician, their translator projecting across the chamber. "This station is now under the control of the Sician Directorate, acting in concert with the Kryvax Dominion. Cooperate, and no one will be harmed." Panic rippled through the assembled delegates. Some species retreated to defensive positions, while others seemed frozen in shock. Chen assessed the situation with military precision. 12 armed Seatians against hundreds of delegates, but only a few dozen security personnel from various species, most likely armed for ceremonial purposes. "Admiral," Zevix whispered, "my security detail has hidden weapons. We can." "Not yet," Chen cautioned. "Let's see how this plays out. Ambassador Sharma, stay behind me." The lead Seatian moved forward, scanning the crowd. "We require the human delegation to step forward. The rest of you will be unharmed if you comply with our directives." Chen exchanged glances with Sharma, who gave a slight nod. Together, they stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Layla Sharma of Earth," Sharma announced clearly. "What is the meaning of this violation of diplomatic protocol?" The Seatian commander regarded them with large black eyes. "Your species has upset the balance of power in this sector. The technological advantage you maintain, particularly your defensive capabilities, represents a threat to galactic stability. So you allied with the Kryvax, who are known for planetary genocide?" Chen asked, voice sharp with disgust. "An interesting moral calculation. A temporary alliance of convenience," the Seatian replied. "Once we acquire human technology, the Kryvax will be dealt with as well." Chen's comm unit vibrated silently against her wrist, a coded pattern indicating that the Guardian fleet had engaged the enemy vessels. She needed to buy time. "And how exactly do you plan to acquire our technology?" Chen asked. "Since you seem to know so much about us, you must be aware of what happens to those who attempt to scan our ships." The Seatian made a gesture that might have been their species' equivalent of a smile. "We are well aware of your countermeasures, Admiral Chen, which is why we've developed specialized scanning technology designed specifically to bypass them." Outside the station, the battle had been joined. The 5 Guardian-class vessels moved with coordinated precision, their advanced targeting systems keeping the Kryvax cruisers at bay. But the Seatian fighters were smaller, faster, and harder to track. Aboard the UES Vigilant, Captain Rivera watched the tactical display with growing concern. 3 Seatian fighters breaking formation, headed directly for the Vigilant, reported the tactical officer. "Targeting solutions. Locked, Captain. But they're not attacking. They appear to be taking up positions around our ship." Rivera's eyes narrowed. "They're preparing to scan us. All hands, brace for countermeasure deployment. Activate Protocol Omega." In the Grand Chamber, the lead Seatian's communication device chimed. After listening briefly, they turned back to Chen with renewed confidence. "Your vessels are currently being analyzed by our advanced scanning arrays," they announced. "Within minutes, we will have complete schematics of your defensive systems. The era of human technological superiority is at an end." Chen didn't respond immediately. Instead, she activated her own comm unit. "Rivera, status report." "Protocol Omega active, Admiral," came the immediate reply, audible to everyone nearby. Seatian vessels attempted synchronized multi-vector scanning. Countermeasures deployed successfully. Effects: total systems failure across all 3 Seatian vessels. Their main ship is reporting cascading technological failures throughout their fleet. The Kryvax cruisers are. "Admiral, you need to see this." The main view screen in the chamber, intended for diplomatic presentations, suddenly activated. It showed the space battle outside the station. The Kryvax cruisers were drifting, their weapons silent, navigation systems clearly offline. The Seatian fighters floated lifelessly, all systems dark. "What have you done?" demanded the Seatian commander, weapon raising instinctively. "We didn't do anything," Chen replied calmly. "You did this to yourselves when you attempted to scan our vessels with your specialized technology." On the screen, one of the Kryvax cruisers suddenly lurched, its engines flaring wildly before shutting down completely. Emergency lights flickered across its hull. "Your scanning technology was networked with the Kryvax vessels," Chen continued, understanding dawning. "When our countermeasures activated, the feedback cascaded through your entire battle group. The armed Cetians looked to their leader in confusion. Without their fleet support, the situation had drastically shifted. "This is impossible," the Cetian commander insisted. "Our scanning technology was specifically designed to counter your defenses. We spent years developing it." "That's the fundamental misunderstanding that every species seems to make," Chen explained, taking a step forward. "Our countermeasures aren't static. They're adaptive. Each time someone attempts to breach them, they analyze the method and evolve. What worked, or rather didn't work, against the Intrepid a decade ago would be useless against our current fleet." Security personnel from multiple species had taken advantage of the Cetians' distraction to move into position. The Valerie guards, the Tauran security detail, and even the normally peaceful Elorand representatives now surrounded the would-be attackers. "Lower your weapons," Sharma advised the Cetians. "Your fleet is disabled, your Kryvax allies are powerless, and you're outnumbered. This coup attempt is over." For a tense moment, it seemed the Cetian commander might order an attack anyway. Then, slowly, they lowered their weapon. The other Cetians followed suit. As the security teams moved in to detain the infiltrators, Zivix approached Chen. "Another impressive demonstration of human defensive capabilities. Admiral, though I suspect this won't be the last attempt to pierce your technological veil." "Probably not," Chen agreed. "But perhaps it will reinforce the wisdom of respecting boundaries." Later, as the summit reconvened under heightened security, representatives from a dozen worlds approached the human delegation with new cooperation proposals. The Valerie offered joint defense exercises. The Tauran suggested trade agreements for non-military technology. Even the normally reclusive Elorans expressed interest in cultural exchange programs. "It seems our reputation has been enhanced rather than damaged by today's events," Sharma observed as she and Chen reviewed the proposals in a private meeting room. As the security teams moved in to detain the infiltrators, Zivix approached Chen. "Another impressive demonstration of human defensive capabilities. Admiral, though I suspect this won't be the last attempt to pierce your technological veil." "Probably not," Chen agreed. "But perhaps it will reinforce the wisdom of respecting boundaries." Later, as the summit reconvened under heightened security, representatives from a dozen worlds approached the human delegation with new cooperation proposals. The Valerie offered joint defense exercises. The Tauran suggested trade agreements for non-military technology. Even the normally reclusive Elorans expressed interest in cultural exchange programs. "It seems our reputation has been enhanced rather than damaged by today's events," Sharma observed as she and Chen reviewed the proposals in a private meeting room. "Fear and respect are powerful motivators," Chen replied. "But I'm more interested in the technological implications. The Cetians and Kryvax working together represents a significant threat, one that won't disappear with a single failed attempt." Sharma nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps it's time to consider sharing some of our defensive technology with trusted allies. Not everything, of course, but enough to create a more balanced security framework." Chen considered this. A decade ago, she would have rejected the idea outright. But the galaxy had proven both more dangerous and more promising than humanity had anticipated. "I'll bring the proposal to Earth Command," she finally said. "But regardless of the outcome, one thing is certain." "What's that?" Chen smiled slightly, looking out at the stars where the disabled enemy vessels were being towed away by Valerie security ships. "No one is going to attempt scanning our ships again anytime soon." Throughout the known galaxy, in spacer bars and diplomatic academies, in military briefings and scientific conferences, the message continued to spread, evolving from cautionary tale to established wisdom. Don't scan the humans. Whatever secrets they guard, whatever technologies they possess, some mysteries are best left undiscovered. Because when it comes to protecting their information, humans don't just fight back, they turn your own curiosity against you. And in the vastness of space, where knowledge is power and secrets are currency, humanity had established itself not through conquest or intimidation, but through the simple, unbreakable defense of their own privacy. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The humans would keep their secrets, and peace would prevail, so long as everyone remembered the first rule of interstellar diplomacy.